And welcome
to Sports Palooza Radio.
That's right.
Are you ready for this?
Hey, yo, listen, it's going down just like this.
Who's ready for
Lisa Nucci, and EJ, the Rainmaker.
We are now live in 3, 2, 1.
Hey, everybody. Welcome into Sports Palooza Radio. Of course, I'm EJ, and I'm here with Lisa. Hi, Lisa.
Hi, everybody.
This is great. Of course, this will be our second full-feature Olympic show after we had Shawn Johnson and Brendan Hansen and Sarah Hendrickson on last week, which also featured Shauna Burgess of Dancing with the Stars. She made her own Olympic appearance in 2000 in Sydney. Today, we're going to do it again. We have 3 amazing interviews, including Dorothy Hamill, who, of course, she won gold in 1976 in the women's singles. And, Lisa, tell me more about that.
Well, everybody knows Dorothy's an Olympic figure skating legend, and she's, of course, America's first sweetheart.
Yeah.
And I was thrilled I got a chance to talk to her.
Yeah.
She came in second in the figures and won the short and the long programs in the 1976 Winter Olympics in Innsbruck, Austria. And then she took the gold medal, and she went on to perform in the Ice Capades for several years. She wrote 2 books. She made an appearance on Dancing with the Stars last year. So that today she talked to us about the Olympics, life after the Olympics, and she's had some challenges, but she came out of them just like we thought she would, like a champion.
Yeah, she has definitely been through some stuff. It's cool you're going to get into that with her. I was sitting here when you did the interview going, wow, that's some personal stuff, so it's good stuff. Obviously, the amazing people at Team Kelloggs, they've been nice enough to let us do 2 more interviews. But some of the athletes are still in Sochi. I mean, Sarah Hendrickson, we had on last week, she was still there. And I got to talk to Noelle Pikus-Pace, who got her silver medal in skeleton after all she's been through in not only her career, obviously, and her personal life, which is well documented, as we know. Deciding to come back and compete in 2014 wasn't as simple as, I think I'll do it again. I mean, she's had some stuff to deal with. And late last night, if we sound tired, which I don't think we sound too tired.
I think we're okay.
No, we're okay. Late last night, we got to talk to Charlie White and Meryl Davis, who, obviously made history becoming the first American ice dancer to take home the gold.
Yay!
Yay! That was awesome. So we're going to bring you that interview, too. And this is great stuff, huh?
It's really cool. I mean, let me ask you a question, okay? We got to interview some really awesome Olympians, and like you said, we stayed up really late last night waiting for them to call from Russia. Will you look back at this Olympics, and maybe other than the one from where we beat the Russians in hockey, will you actually say that this has been like the coolest Olympics for you?
Yeah, for me, on a personal level, definitely. I mean, 1980, the Olympic team and the hockey team winning that's a great memory. But I was also 11 years old, so this is much more exciting. I mean, I don't know if you remember, do you remember 2 months ago we're looking for something to discuss on the air, and I thought of the trek of the Olympic torch, and now we've sat down with 8 people in the last 2 shows who have in some way, shape, or form made Olympic appearances. I mean, we've spoken to some of the greatest athletes on our planet. And I think also seeing Josh, Gus, and Nick take 1, 2, and 3 in slopestyle, that was amazing. And obviously Noelle doing her Lambeau leap.
Lambeau leap right to the crowd to go see her family and her coach.
That was awesome.
That was great.
It was great. Obviously Charlie and Meryl, obviously that was awesome too. Those 2 were floating on air. I mean, that was tremendous for me to watch.
Absolutely.
That was great stuff. What about you? What are you going to take out of this year's Olympics, and what does it mean to you?
I definitely agree with you on everything you've said. I mean, just watching all of these and having the opportunity to talk to these Olympic athletes has just been amazing. But, like you said, we've only been on the air, actually, since the second week of December.
Yeah.
And when we came on, we said we were the new voices in sports broadcasting. Yeah. And we both have experience doing interviews and in sports. And now these Olympics have been proof that people out there believe in us.
Yeah.
I mean, these athletes are doing interviews, but there's only so many they can do in a day.
Yep.
And yet we're on that list, and we only started a couple of months ago.
Yeah.
And we've brought big names to this show, and we've done exactly what we said we were going to do at the beginning of this show in December. that we were going to bring you, new voices, new experiences, new people to hear, their stories. And that's what we've done, and that just shows that everybody out there is believing in what we're doing. So that's why this has been a week for me that I'll never forget, because of the people that came to us. We didn't go to them, they came to us, and that's what makes it awesome.
Yeah, I mean, to think, obviously NBC gets all the, the big stuff because they're there, and,
right.
Today's Show and all the major names out there who are getting everybody. But we're, like you said, we're just a simple little radio show. It's a couple of people who just started, and we're getting access to all these athletes.
Yep.
We've come a long way.
We have, and it's just the start.
Yeah. Obviously, we have a lot coming up, and we're not going anywhere. So,
nope.
Thank you to everybody who's taking the time to listen to us. I mean, you don't even understand when we see our numbers increasing every week, and we're just thrilled. I mean, it makes it all worth what we're doing.
Absolutely.
But now you guys, like you said, you got a chance to sit down with Dorothy Hamill during the week. We got to speak to her last Friday after our other show, and we're going to bring you that segment coming up here. You want to say anything else about that, or you just want to get right into it?
Let's just get right into it.
All right. Well, we're going to, right when Dorothy got on the line with you, we came on, and here's what happened.
Hello, Dorothy.
Yes.
Hi, it's Lisa. How are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
Good. I am
Good.
So honored to be talking to you today. Thank you so much for doing this interview.
My pleasure. Thank you.
And, it's funny. I have to tell you, we have, I think, a little something in common because looking at your background, I saw that you grew up in Greenwich. And
yes.
You mentioned even in your book going to Playland. And I grew up in Yonkers, New York, which was like a stone's throw away from Greenwich, Connecticut,
Right.
And
yes.
I was at Playland, and I went on that ice skating rink, and it was a really cool area to grow up in.
It really was. It really was. Of course, it's changed a lot, but the memories I have of Playland and just all of the sort of charming small town feeling of Connecticut, Riverside, which was the other side of the tracks in those days. But, I just feel very lucky that I had such a wonderful childhood and a beautiful place to kind of be with family and be able to skate on ponds and go to the, Playland, the amusement park and the roller coasters in the summer. Yeah, it's a great place.
And you even have a rink named after you back home. I mean, you don't live in that same area now, do you, right?
I don't. And, of course, when I was skating, that rink wasn't there. Playland was the closest, and there was a kind of a dive of a little rink in Norwalk, Connecticut. But my mom drove me to all these other rinks. But the rink, it's a municipal rink, and, I can't say that it's state of the art, but it's ice, and they've got great programs for, hockey teams and figure skating and recreational skating. So that it is what it is, ice. You can't be picky.
Right. Well, you know what? I mean, anything that gives the kids a start in potentially either just doing it for fun or having the type of career that you've had, is a great place. So, I just love the fact that it's there and the kids can go there. And, I mean, do you still mentor any younger kids in your career?
I do, but they're mostly, very young, who probably aren't Olympic contenders, but they're more youngsters that are, because to me there's so much more than skating, because the Olympics is a one in a million shot, but there's so much more to skating than just, competing at the Olympics, because that's not for everyone. So I really try and mentor and support youngsters who are extremely talented, but, haven't had access to the right coaches, the best coaches, or, but so, it's more about the artistry and the performance. And now that, skating, we see the Olympics, but there are other forms of performing. There's ensemble skating and precision skating, which is sort of the synchronized skating. So, and that's for youngsters that are never going to go to the Olympics, but there's so much more to skating than what we see at the Olympics. So those are the kind of kids that, they love it and they want to be there. And so it gives them an opportunity to continue skating and school without having, the total complete commitment that you have to have for the Olympics, and not just the skater, but, family and resources and all of that. So I like to promote skating in general as opposed to just the elite.
Right, because, it's true. I mean, these kids are all competing now for their chance at the gold, but the reality is that only one person is going to win that gold medal in their sport for that event. And are you watching the Olympics now?
Yes, I have been. Watching, very, very interested. I'm loving the new team competition, and which was I was a little sort of confused and mystified in the beginning, but I think it has great potential down the road, and I thought it was fascinating to see sort of the best of the best in the teams. And the men just finished their long program, so I watched that. I think it'll air tonight on NBC, prime time, but it was interesting to see the finishing. The only thing that was a little disappointing is that there wasn't that one performance by anyone that was sort of off, but he had mistakes. So,
right.
But I think the judges got it right. I'm sure they got it right this time, because that's always been the controversy with the judging, and I really think that pretty much it turned out the way it should have. So that's good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Go ahead. I was just going to say, we felt really bad because of the one kid who fell really hard and then almost didn't get back up again. And, we can't imagine what's going through your mind when you fall, and then to turn around and get back up, and not only get back up, but then finish your routine in pain. What kind of goes through your mind on the ice that, if something could potentially go wrong? How do you get your head wrapped around that and get back up and do what he did?
Well, that's interesting. It's Jeremy Abbott, and I've known Jeremy since he was a little boy in Aspen, Colorado. Mm-hmm. And so I've been following him closely, and he is the sweetest, most adorable young man you could ever imagine. And when he fell, and he sort of was sitting at this, lying on the side of the boards, I'm sure he had no idea, what to do. And I mean, he actually had said that, and that's one of the things that he will now, and probably the rest of the skaters and coaches will now focus on. If that happens to you, here's what the rules are, because he said he didn't know what to do. If he could have gone over to the referee. I think he handled it perfectly. He got up and he made up the time and the jumps so that he could get enough points. Obviously, the fall was just very dramatic and horrible, but I think he did the right thing by getting up, and he said that he heard the audience cheering for him, so he just said, okay, I'm gonna finish this. And I'm so glad he did, because Jeremy he just has never really had the self-confidence, and that's one of the things that I've always been frustrated, because he's so beautiful. He needs to believe in himself. So I think finishing the way he did, and then his long program today, he was cautious in the beginning, as he should be, to get all the technical elements down, and then he just got stronger and stronger and finished beautifully. But at that point it was, not in his hands. So he's just a terrific guy, and I'm so happy that it happened the way it happened. And I guess in the future, skaters and coaches will figure out, if something like this happens, what do you do?
Right. Yeah, I mean, and what about, during the performances themselves? I mean, everybody's trying to come up with the new thing, the next new thing, the next big, hard jump to make, or, whether it's skiing or figure skating or, whatever. Everybody's always trying to outdo and come up. I mean, you had, obviously, the camel spin into the fifth spin, the camel. I mean, did you know, two questions really. One, do you think there's pressure really to come up with something new and to outdo another skater? And did you know then, when you were doing that, the influence that you'd have even on today's skating from that move?
well, I don't think I have an influence on today's skating from that move, but thank you for saying that. And you always do try and have something that's your trademark. That's not just a gimmick. And that's the Hamill Camel is something that my coach was explaining to me to do. And actually, I read in Dick Button's book that the same spin, and we had the same coach, Gus Lucy, had explained that spin to him. So I think Dick Button may have done that spin. And so I think that was interesting. But I do think today the skaters do have to find something that is their trademark. And I'm not suggesting it's a gimmick, but something that they do better than anyone else that is, familiar and, but I don't think it should be people just trying to find a gimmick or some, crazy position that's not terribly attractive just to be different. So I do, but of course, the natural thing is to try and win fans and try and win the judges. But I think sort of gimmicky things can be more of a detriment than a help. So, but you're always trying to look for that, something, because there really aren't that many variations on a theme. There are only so many jumps and so many spins and forward, backward, inside, outside edges. So you got to sort of make it your own. And that was one of the things I saw in the men. They have this footwork sequence. And some of the men are just off the charts in the way they change edges and lean and, these sort of spins and twizzles in the middle and then the long edges. And I just think that is so interesting, the different styles. And it really is, quite beautiful to watch some of them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. I mean, I've always loved the Winter Olympics. And it's interesting, we had one a current Olympian, Sarah Hendrickson, on the show the other day, and we talked to her, and we talked about what life is going to be like after the Olympics. I mean, you've had an amazing career, America's sweetheart. You've done so much, since that time. And what advice would you give to them about what they're, actually going to go through after the Olympics? And are they prepared for that?
It's very interesting that you say that, because I was really lucky that I was able to go on and continue my sport as a professional, in ice shows and things like that. I was completely ill-equipped to handle the difference and the change in notoriety. Today, my gosh, with instant media, the social networking, social media, it's just, you can't sneeze and somebody doesn't know about it. And if you don't cover your mouth, then, the rest of the world is going to die. So it's the scrutiny and there's always going to be people who love you, and there's always going to be people who don't love you. And, I think if you, read all of that, it can be, it can really affect you, your life. But I do think a lot of these youngsters, they've had media training, and they have a lot more access to people to help them. But, going into these games, a lot of them already have endorsements and have, personal appearances. And so I think they're a lot more used to the sort of spotlight going into the games. But, after you win a medal, it does change things. And, I think it's terrific because there are lots of amazing opportunities open to the athletes, especially the athletes who, in a sport that there isn't professional or money to be made, they do it because they love it. And so, it is an opportunity for, the sort of lesser known sports to have some kind of spotlight and, and maybe have some potential other opportunities because of it, after the Olympics.
What if you don't win a medal? I mean, how do you root from that and either look towards the next Olympics? I mean, sometimes you hear kids say, "Oh, this is all I've ever worked for. This is all I ever had."
Right.
Yes. And how do you come back from that if that's really where your mentality was?
Well, I think, I can speak more from skating because in other sports I'm not sure. But in skating, if they're young enough, there's always 4 years down the road if they're young enough.
Right.
But some of the ones who have worked and they've had a couple of shots at it and it's just never going to be in the cards. I think it's very obviously disappointing and traumatic. But I also think that winning an Olympic gold medal doesn't really define you. You don't learn those things till later on. It might define you in the eyes of people watching the Olympics, but there's so much more to life than just winning the Olympic gold medal or an Olympic medal. I think it's and truly you hear this all the time, but if you've done the best you can do and you don't win a medal, that is very satisfying. And rewarding. And if you don't do the best you can do, then it's, if I'd done this better, if I'd done that differently, if I trained harder, if I, hadn't eaten that, you can always play those games. But that's why it's so important going into the Olympics that you do all of your homework and all of your training and everything before you get to the games. And that way the rest, will be what will be. So I think if people in their mind, the athletes, if they know they've given it their all and they get to the Olympics and it doesn't pan out the way they'd like to, that is really good enough to get you through, knowing you did your best.
Right.
So.
Well, what about I know physically, I know that it can take a toll on your body. And I mean, you did Dancing with the Stars, and unfortunately had to withdraw. And was the injury that you had, was it a result from the years of skating, or I'm not going to ask you to go into it personally, but was it something else? And
Well, the reason I withdrew was not for the pain, because I'm used to pain. It was that I had no stability in my right leg, and I didn't even realize it. I kept standing on my left leg, and I didn't realize that the nerve damage was all the way to my toes. And that's when I realized I couldn't even fake it, and it wasn't about the pain. It's a cyst that I still have, and so it's technically not an injury, and it's been there a long time. It's not something that just happens, and that probably is a result of, some of the skating, and my option is to have it removed. I've had it drained a few times, but it was the lack of stability, which was the reason I had to withdraw, because I couldn't stand on my leg, and so you can't really dance if you're a one-legged dancer. And but I'm sure all the years of falling and body slamming, and even though I wasn't the most flexible the way the youngsters are today, all of that, bending, layback spins, and but also falling. I mean, we didn't have the harnesses or trapeze that they use today. So the skaters, when they're learning a jump, they don't have to fall and body slam. We didn't have that. So, we would just hurl ourselves into the air for a double axel and, come down at 1,000,000 miles an hour and just fall time after time after time after time. Eventually you learn how to land it. But I'm sure a lot of that took its toll on my spine. So, and I've had arthritis in my neck for a long time. I think there's a lot of that. My grandmother had terrible arthritis in her neck as well, so I'm sure there's some sort of family part of it. But I'm sure I didn't help by crashing into the boards head first a million times.
No, that's a big owl right there. I mean, I did it a couple of times as a kid, and I went, okay, this is not for me. It's fun, but it's not for me. Now, how do you look amazing. I know you've had some health issues during the year with during the years with breast cancer. Take me through how first let's talk a little bit about how you stay in shape today, because I mean you look absolutely amazing, and what's your routine now?
Well, I try, and I've been trying to skate a little bit since my back problem. I haven't skated a bunch, but I really like to just get on a bike. I bought a new bike, which I absolutely love, or I'll go to the fitness center and sit on a recumbent bike, because that's really the best for my back and my knees. Not that I have really bad knees, but and I just try and sort of keep active. I do a little bit of weights, not a ton. I don't kill myself. I just try and do sort of longer workouts as opposed to that intense workout, just because I'm not in the mood to push my body these days. Some days I do. But skating to me is still what I love, and so I still that's sort of where I go when I put on music and just I'm by myself on the ice, and I just kind of love that. But I haven't done that as much in a while because I've been trying to get back in my my right leg. So I think that was something coming for a long time, but I didn't realize it until all the different moves on Dancing with the Stars that just compressed my spine more and made that nerve go dead. So hopefully I'll get skating again, because that's what I love. So I just do a little bit of everything.
And can I ask you about the breast cancer? How is your health?
Yeah.
And hopefully it's good.
I'm good. So far, so good. Still on one more year of my, anti-cancer drugs. But I'm good. I'm feeling better than I have in a long time. And so, I didn't realize how much that surgery and the radiation took out of me until sort of recently. I guess even though you don't feel like there's a lot of pain with the radiation, but it really does kind of knock you for a loop. So I'm getting stronger, and so far so good, knock on wood, my wooden head.
Can I ask you to go back to, because, I mean, people who listen to this are going to be, they look up to you, and maybe they're in the same boat and they're being diagnosed for the first time. I mean, can you kind of take me back to when you were diagnosed and kind of how do you handle it? I mean, what advice would you give somebody out there who's getting that diagnosis now for the first time?
Oh, boy, that's a really great question. When I was diagnosed, I guess it's been 5 years ago, and I was supposed to be starting a skating tour, and I'd had some cysts and things that were benign in the past, but this one was different. And when I got the diagnosis, I was sort of ready to go in for surgery and get it done and all that, and then somebody in my neighborhood said, you really should get a second opinion. So I did. I got a second opinion, and the treatment there was different than what it would have been had I sort of just gone ahead with the plan from the original diagnosis. And I have to say I was so lucky to have been diagnosed when I was, because it was at the beginning of a lot of the new studies that came out. My cancer is hormone-related, but I don't have the BRCA gene, which is the one that you hear Angelina Jolie and people just having the bilateral mastectomy and all that. So I didn't have that. I don't have that gene. And I got it, early on, and I had an unbelievable surgery and oncologist, and I was really lucky to have access to that, the unbelievable strides that have been made in breast cancer. So, when you get that diagnosis, it's devastating. But the people that sort of helped me through it at Johns Hopkins Hospital, and, they were very encouraging that it's not necessarily a death sentence, but it's something that obviously it's treatable. Now, that's the kind of breast cancer I had. So it's not that way for everyone, but, I can never stress enough that you really have to get checked. And, and I thought I knew because I had cysts before, and I didn't really, this just seemed like another one, and it wasn't. It was different. So even though I thought I knew, what I was looking for, doing my exams, I was really lucky that, I was going in for my annual, OBG or GYN, and, pointed it out, and they said, oh, this was a little different. So, so I was really lucky that, I was on top of it and had great access to sort of, at the time, state-of-the-art, information or state of the medical field. So, so for people, women, not just women, who have, get that diagnosis, and everyone says get a second opinion. I was very glad I got a second opinion because my treatment would have been very different. And just know that if you get it early, that, it isn't necessarily death sentence. But having as much information, and the thing that cancer is so complex that trying to take it all in and try and learn about it is virtually impossible, for one person to do. So if you can have someone else there, taking notes or asking questions, it's really important. I was lucky to have that kind of support, and I know a lot of people don't have that support. But there's just so much to take in, and but for me it was like, okay, we'll solve this problem, because there was nothing I could do about it, except get as much information and then listen to the advice of the doctors and then make my decision. So I do think getting as much information as you can, and because there's a lot out there. So
definitely, there's an abundance of information out there. Sometimes it's kind of scary. It's you could look on the internet and it's just so overwhelming.
Yes, and that's what they told me when I had my diagnosis. They said, don't read on the internet, unless they tell you you can go here and read about it, because it's terrifying, and it's different for everyone. So I was just really fortunate to have great doctors and care.
That's awesome, and obviously you're doing well now, and I got to tell you too. I mean, like I said, you've been such an inspiration, because even when I was a kid, and I followed. I mean, your whole story, and we always used to say to each other when we were growing up, who would you want to be like? If you could be, a music person, TV, sports, who would you want to be? And you were like the most common name for sports. I mean, TV, everybody wanted to be Valerie Bertinelli, and in sports, everybody wanted to be Dorothy Hamill. And it was, do you realize, the impact? I mean, with the girls growing up, I mean, watching you and seeing your success. I mean, did you realize the kind of role model you would become?
No, it's so funny to hear that. I was just. I didn't ever have, great self-esteem, and I was just kind of figuring out what I could do that, my brother and sister couldn't do, and skating was it. And it's so funny that you say that, because I just never even, thought of that, or it's even hard to believe, but I don't know, I've just been very lucky, and I was lucky to find something that I love doing. And that I still, even though I don't do it very well anymore, that I can still do, go out there and practice and enjoy the sport or the recreation of it. So that's really funny to hear you say that, but I just don't believe it or buy it. It's just crazy.
No, you gotta buy it. You gotta buy it. I mean, if we could have recorded and texted back then, where you could see what we all used to say to each other, it was the same conversation all the time. So, what can we tell everybody that you're up to now? I mean, if they wanted to know things that you were up to in your life, I mean, do you have something going on that you'd like to tell them about?
Sure. I mean, let's see. I have a fantasy camp for adults who either have never done it before, and it's a 1 week. It's more of a retreat, and I have like 4 or 5 other Olympic coaches that come in, and we skate and we have a little performance at the end of the week,
cool.
And we have dinners, and we just have the best time, and it's been life-changing for some of our campers and also for some of the coaches. So it's a really kind of intimate look at the behind the scenes, and a lot of the skaters were kids that, adults that didn't have a chance growing up, or that was always their fantasy to, see what it's like to live that life. So we do that, and I love that. We do that in Arizona. It's in October, so it's technically the Dorothy Hamill figure skating fantasy camp, and my tired old website does have a little bit of the camp on there, so we're trying to update that part of it at least.
I love your website. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I loved your website. You had the whole story, the musical story, watching you grow up. I just thought that was awesome. I was like getting tears in my eyes going, I remember this.
Oh. Well, I haven't updated my website because I'm never good at that. I need to do that. But the fantasy camp is a little more up to date, and we've just announced our 6th one. So, and then I work with youngsters at Kennedy Krieger Institute, which is what they call an adaptive skating program. So they're youngsters with various physical challenges, spinal cord injuries and autism, and so that's called iSkate, and that so they're kids, youngsters that have special needs, and so we're able to help them skate and enjoy figure skating, even if they've got braces on their legs, or so that's really a fun project. And I've started working with a company for sort of recreational fitness equipment. It's called Smooth Fitness, and it's to get people who are really sedentary to just start moving gradually, so they're very low impact bicycles, and we've got a couple others that were in the works. So that's been kind of fun too, because I'm a big believer in if you don't keep using it, even if you're injured, or you've got to keep your body moving. Otherwise, when you get to a point where you're really seriously ill, you just don't have the strength to come back. And my mom's dealing with that right now. So I'm very interested in the aging population and being able to try and, get them just doing something so that they can, be stronger in their older years, as opposed to just, having to shuffle around and not be quite as independent as they could be.
Right. That's awesome. I mean, you're doing so many good things, and you've kept so busy. I mean, I don't know how you manage it all. So
well, it's fun, I have to say. It's fun. I'm not good at it, but it's fun, and there are things that I'm passionate about. So if there's anything to be gained from that, it's that I love what I do, and I love people, and I love people that haven't had the opportunities that I've had. So I like to try and share that.
And I think that's the key. It's you have to find that thing that you're passionate about, because anything else is just a job,
Exactly. And it's hard to find something you're passionate about. So I don't, it's just, and it doesn't have to be sports, athletics, art, it's just anything, really, that you love.
Right. Absolutely. Well, I've really enjoyed talking to you. Like I told you at the beginning of this, I'm so honored to be able to talk to you. And thank you for sharing everything that you shared with me today. I appreciate it.
Well, thank you so much. You're delightful to talk to, and I thank you for having me.
Yeah, that was a great interview. You got her to talk about some stuff that's really personal, and I mean, having her open up and really get into what people are going to go through when they get something like that happen to them. That was a tremendous interview. I hope everybody really kind of grasps what really went on in that conversation.
Yeah, I mean, she really did just share with us, and if you want to go into more about what some of the stuff that she went through, she has a book. It was written a couple of years ago. It's called Skating Life, and you can check that out on Amazon, and that'll give you even a more in-depth piece. But yeah, I was really pleased with how she opened up to us. It was awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I remember sitting here when you were doing it, going, "Wow, this is some tough stuff." But she's great. I mean, she sounds great. She obviously still looks great. I mean, I see her Twitter feed, and she's still tweeting stuff and throwing some stuff out there and having fun with other people and all her friends. And that's great stuff.
Yep. And so not only did I get a chance to talk to Dorothy, but you had a lot of fun this week. And the Rainmaker here had a chance to talk to Noelle Pikus-Pace. Yeah. And she won silver for the skeleton event. And like we said at the opening of the show, she's kind of known now for this kind of Lambo leap that she did afterwards, getting off the board and just running to the crowd and finding her coach and her husband and her children and just kind of celebrating with them, which I thought was such an emotional experience. And so we're going to listen to the Rainmaker's interview with Noelle Pikus-Pace. Yeah.
Well, this is amazing. Team Kellogg has been so generous in giving us our athletes and helping us with the good nutrition program and great starts. And today we have none other than Noelle Pikus-Pace on the line with us today. Noelle, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
That's cool. I'm great. Thank you so much for coming on. I mean, I'm looking at your Twitter feed, going, "Oh boy, look at her." Is your voice okay? Can you still talk?
Yeah. Yeah, it's been absolutely incredible. It's been a whirlwind.
I know. I mean, are you amazed at how many people just want a piece of you right now? I mean, is that tremendous or what?
Well, it's crazy. I'm here in Sochi in Russia, so I don't really see outside of this little bubble that I'm in. And then I get on Facebook and Twitter and I see it, and it's just going crazy. And I feel honored, and I feel so blessed to have so many people supporting and cheering for me.
Yeah, we all were. I mean, when I saw you crying and all that, I was just like, I know what she's going through. She is just good. She's a mess. I love it. I mean, I personally started crying too. I mean, that's just to see you like that, knowing everything. And I just think it was amazing. Congratulations on the silver. I mean,
Thank
I hope you get the.
Thank you so much.
I really hope you get the Ferrari. I mean, if they send you a silver Ferrari, I'm going to be like, no way.
Yeah, well, we're still going to push for a Ferrari.
Yeah, that would be awesome. Noelle, tell me about all the Team Kellogg stuff you're doing for good nutrition and great starts. I mean, they've been tremendous with helping you, huh?
Oh, they've been awesome. You know, as an athlete, I've been so blessed. So now I just want to give back, and Team Kellogg's has been doing amazing things. They have a great start program, and so what it is Kellogg's knows that 1 in every 5 kids throughout the United States goes hungry. They go without breakfast, and what they want to do is they want to change that. So they want to, with every time somebody gets on Twitter, if you use the hashtag Great Start, they will give a child in need a breakfast. So it's as simple as that. Get on Twitter and use hashtag Great Start.
Yeah, that's cool. I saw you doing it too. I really want to ask you before I know I only have a few minutes with you. I know it's hard balancing with you have the 2 kids and how do you even get away being a mom of 2 and you have your family? I mean, when you need to go work out, even just to go for a jog, how tough is it? Because you have a lot going on.
Yeah, I do, and it's really hard, and I'm not the only one. There's a lot of us that are struggling to balance, work and being a parent, and it gets really hard. It's just a matter of, for me, it's been a matter of time management, prioritizing. I know my kids, my family will always come first. I want to make sure that they get the love that they need, and then I try to fit it in. A lot of times I'm doing my workouts at 5 in the morning or whenever I can fit it in, and getting up and getting them breakfast and getting Lacey off to school, and it's a balancing act. But it's been a matter of having an awesome support system. I couldn't do it without my husband and without my family.
Yeah, tell me what it was like. What was going through your mind when you were climbing through the stands and trying to get to your family? I mean, I'm telling you, that was for me. For me, that was just like, oh God, this is great. I mean, I almost couldn't wait for you to get there. I mean, what was going through your mind?
Thanks. Honestly, I just thought, I crossed that finish line. I saw my coach throw his hands up in the air, and I thought, oh my goodness, I just won an Olympic medal. I just did it. We did it. We did it. And so right when I crossed that finish line, I thought, I need to celebrate with them, and they're over there, and I'm here, and there's like this barricade between us, and I just immediately, it was all a blur. I just jumped over the stands like it was nothing, and I got up there, and I just remember saying, we did it, we did it, we did it, because it really wasn't about me crossing that finish line. It was just a whole team behind us. I mean, it was just it was incredible.
Yeah, I heard the night before you were up every hour like, I just want to go. Like, have you even slept since then? I mean, have you gotten any sleep after it happened?
Not much, honestly. It's just, and I even have laid awake, even when I'm able to go to sleep, even when my time is my own and I'm able to go to sleep, I just lay there and I'm like, oh my goodness, I am an Olympic silver medalist. I can't believe it. I can't believe it happened. It's real.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. Tell me, how bad do you feel for Katie coming like 0.04 seconds? I mean, were you like, oh, I would have loved for you to have bronze with me? And how bad do you feel for Katie?
I feel so bad. I know how she feels.
Yeah.
In 2010, I finished fourth by a tenth of a second, so I know exactly how she feels, and it's a tough place to be. But she's a trooper. She is so strong, and she's going to come back stronger as a person, as an athlete, than she's ever been before. And I know that she's just going to pull through it.
Yeah, I hope so. We were rooting for her too. Just we felt so bad, and it's exactly what went through my mind was like, wow, Noelle went through the same exact thing. She's got to be able to walk her through this a little bit. So that's cool. Tell me what's next for you. I mean, obviously being a wife and a mom, and now what are you gonna do now? You gonna get into coaching? Are you still doing the skate young women stuff? Like, what's going on with you next?
Yeah, I'm still in the youth. I love working with the youth in my church and in my community with the Young Women's Program. I absolutely love it. I'm going to continue doing that and just trying to be an example to all those around me. I mean, that's really the biggest thing. I want to continue to raise my family and to help my kids, achieve their dreams, achieve their goals. I want to join PTA and bake cookies and decorate for the holidays and continue on with my hat company. Who knows? I want to write a book. I have a lot of aspirations. I have a lot of things that I want to do.
So you're going to be busy. Now, how are you going to find time for all that?
Time management. It always comes back to time management.
That's crazy. I don't want to keep you. I know your voice is killing you. I really hope you get that part in the movie you're looking for, too. That'd be pretty cool, right?
Yes, seriously, yes. One-liner in a movie, bucket list checked off. Thank you.
Yeah, I really hope you get it. That would be so cool.
Thank you. You're awesome.
So I'll let you go. I know. You want to mention anything else about Kelloggs or what you have going on? Because I know you're pretty busy today.
Oh, that was actually it. I really, really appreciate it. It's been so much fun talking to you. You're awesome. Thank you so much.
That's cool. Thanks. I followed you on Twitter, so if you ever see EJ the Rainmaker, that's me. If you get that car, you better be tweeting that picture. I want to see that silver Ferrari in your driveway.
Trust me, I will tweet away. If I get my Ferrari, I will tweet it all day long.
That is so cool, Noelle. All right, let me let you go. Thanks so much for coming on and talking to me.
Thank you. I hope you have a great day. Thanks so much.
Noelle. Good luck the rest of the day.
Oh, thank you. You too. Bye.
All right. Bye. Yeah, I had some fun with that. What do you think?
Yeah, just a little bit of.
Yeah, I mean, it's Noelle Pikus-Pace, man. I was excited. She was a blast. Like I said, when we were watching her jump into the stands and get into her family, we were both sitting there going, "Get there, get there." That's great.
The thing which was amazing to me is that she had to climb that wall, and I'm thinking, what adrenaline did she have to get up that wall? I kept thinking, is she gonna make it?
Yeah, she has tons of adrenaline.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right, so we're gonna fill out the rest of the show. Lisa and I were up late last night. We found out when we were sitting there watching the Olympics, and we got a message saying that Charlie White and Meryl Davis are available to. Wait, who? Did you just say Charlie White and Meryl Davis? No, come on. So there's no way we were turning that down. A chance to interview those two. So, we got to interview them late last night. Obviously, the ice dancing gold medalist. As soon as they came on the line, we had just gotten through Sochi. So let me start that for you. And we start with, hey guys, hello. This is Palooza Radio. This is EJ and Lisa.
Hi, this is Charlie and Meryl. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you so much for joining us today. I appreciate it.
Oh, thank you. It's our pleasure. It's been a whirlwind, but we're really enjoying our time, and it's nice to talk to you.
No doubt.
I can imagine. I mean, congratulations so much on winning the gold, and I'm going to just jump right into something here. It's you guys, along with the gold medal. I mean, you guys have the honor of being in the same company as Derek Jeter, Michael Phelps, Gabby Douglas, and having your face on a cornflakes box.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, how cool is that, knowing that not only are you guys legends, but you're legends in the same category as these athletes as well?
It's so cool. I mean, especially for the 2012 games, I remember seeing Gabby on the cereal box and being kind of in awe of her moment at the games and all of her success. And so now that, we can see our picture on the cornflakes box and, get a chance to join such amazing company, it's really exciting for us.
Yeah, it's very cool.
It's very cool. I can't imagine going into a store and seeing that,
Absolutely, yeah. I think we're just so fortunate. Kelloggs is obviously a Michigan company, and we're from Michigan, and they've really just helped us start off the day right since we were kids. So, being pictured on the Kelloggs cornflakes box, I just want to say it's such a reminder of what we've achieved, and we're just so grateful.
And, speaking of your success, I mean, other than, Marina and your moms, who are obviously such a major influence on your careers, who else would you credit with the success in your careers? Who would you give a shout-out to other than them right now?
I mean, our sponsors have been a huge part of the last year. Working with Team Kelloggs has been more than just, the support that they've given us. It's been being a part of this family of people who has been there for us along this journey, and the athletes we've met along the journey. It's really become a very tight-knit group of people. Being here with Sarah Hendrickson and Christy Yamaguchi, for example, other athletes as a part of Team Kellogg. It's great to support each other. It's great to talk about our stories. Through Kellogg, we have what's called a Start Story online, where we all provide a breakfast to a child in need when someone shares our Start Story online. And, it's things like that that really bond people, and it's just a really exciting group to be a part of.
Absolutely. Let me ask you a question. What about Derek Hoff? I mean, obviously you guys had such amazing choreography, and there's so many different components to creating what you guys ultimately created and winning the gold. Talk to us about the influence that he had on your career and the choreography that you guys did.
Well, we were so fortunate to be able to work with Derek. He's a genius, and he's got not just a great sense for what looks good on the dance floor, but he's a great person. He's a great person to be around. He has a wonderful energy. And we really tried to absorb that and put that feeling of exuberance and the love of dance on, when we were out there on the ice at the Olympics. And, we were able to just chat with him briefly after and just thank him so much for being a part of our, our season and our Olympic dream coming true. And, he's such a nice guy. He's always so humble. And but it was a great thing for our season.
Yeah, no doubt about it, man. Tell me about, part of the confidence you guys have is how much you trust each other, obviously. But tell me about, have there been any times where, learning a new move or trying something new, took a little bit of the trust process where you were we need to really work this out before we actually, perform this? Has there ever been a time where the trust is all right, we really need to get together on this?
No, we've been skating together since we were 8 and 9 years old, and well before we tried any of the super dangerous or tricky moves that we do now, we developed a really close bond. I especially really need to trust Charlie when I'm doing moves where I jump off his shoulder and he has to catch me or something like that. So, I'm so lucky to have a partner who, I know is going to be there for me, and certainly our very long relationship, our trust that we have in each other, and our understanding has played a really large role in our success.
Yeah, that's cool.
I mean, you guys can honestly say, you know, he's there to catch you when you fall, literally. You know?
Yeah, absolutely.
Before I fall.
Well, let me ask you too. I mean, another component. You know, we've enjoyed watching you guys so much, and we've been sitting here, and it's like, you know, we're analyzing just as well as everybody else is, and I'm like, you know, even the music. I mean, what goes into really picking a song that you think, hey, you know, for a piece of music that you say to yourself, you know, this has combined with everything else we're doing potential to bring us in the gold. I mean, who makes that decision, and how do you do that?
You know, it's a very difficult process, and it doesn't get any easier as you get older. I think your expectations are so high. You really have to find music that suits you and it's going to suit the moment. You know, for us, the Scheherazade music was something that we had loved for our entire lives. And you know, a few years ago we had said, oh, maybe we should skate to it this year, and we talked to our coach Marina about it, and she advised us to wait and use it. You know, it's from a Russian composer, Rimsky-Korsakov, and she said, you know what, that will be perfect for the Olympics, and we couldn't have agreed more. We were just so anxious to be able to do a program to it, so we saved it. And you know, we just the story, you know, was so captivating. The music is powerful. It was everything that you need in a program that you want to make an Olympic worthy and be able to bring an Olympic gold to. So it's a lot of thought to it, but in the end, Scheherazade for us was a no-doubter.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
Yeah, it was beautiful. Charlie, man, I just want to. No, you guys, seriously, that's amazing. Charlie, I want to ask you something, man. Why didn't you put a clause in your offer to play violin for everyone on TV, man? Just be like, all right, listen, I'll play violin. I'll play violin if we win gold. If you do like a triple toe loop in Central Park or something, like, why didn't you come up with something like, you know, what are you going to do for me?
I know, I gave it way too easy. I know it was, you know, I don't know what I was thinking when I agreed to that. I should have known better, but you know, it was a fun experience. Those guys on the Today Show are a great group of people. They just, you know, but they were egging me on pretty good, and they were clapping along with me, so it gave me a little bit of confidence. But I'll tell you, I was really nervous.
Yeah, I heard you were really nervous. You're like I bet like when did you get back to the hotel and you were like, wait a minute. We just won gold. No, I gotta play violin on TV.
Yeah.
Like,
I know. Yeah, it was a moment, but it's definitely something that they all go together. It was a lot of fun to be a part of.
Yeah, it's pretty cool, man. Charlie, is there any hockey left in your system, man? Big Blue needs you on the ice, man. They didn't have a good year this year. You gonna play some hockey for the Big Blue or what?
Yeah, you know, I'm gonna have to try. You know, I'm gonna see if I can pick it back up and get it going again. I'm gonna have to start working out a little bit more, but yeah, no, I think we're gonna have to take off, guys. It's been a real pleasure talking to you.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for stopping by. Good luck with everything after this. You guys are unbelievable.
Unbelievable.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, Meryl.
Bye, Meryl. Bye, Charlie.
Bye.
Yeah, that's awesome.
You know, it was a lot of fun, and if it sounds like they just kind of, you know, dropped the ball at the end, I mean, it was interesting because they have to go, and the way that it works is they go from interview to interview to interview, and, you know, they're getting pulled left and right, so we were just thrilled to have the time that we had with them. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, we were the first interview they got to do, and so, you know, it was basically, all right, they do it in like 15-minute intervals or something, and we kind of missed the beginning, but yeah, they had to go and do another one. I mean, obviously everybody wanted a piece of those two.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, hi, I'm Charlie White and Meryl Davis. How you doing?
Yep.
I mean, those two were great, and obviously they're both great people. She's beautiful. He's just great. That was tremendous. I'm so glad we had them on the show.
Me too.
To bring them and Noelle, Dorothy, what a show! The last 2 weeks have been amazing.
Oh yeah, I mean it's definitely something I'm going to remember. You know, with all the legends that we've had on this show and people that have made history that have stopped by to talk to us. Mm-hmm. And the closing ceremonies are only a few days away, and we don't even know if we're done yet with our Olympic coverage. So you're going to have to follow us on Twitter at Palooza Radio, and we'll let you know if we have more superstars coming on for interviews that you'll be able to hear next week. In the meantime, if you haven't gotten enough of the Olympics, and even if you have to watch this because NBC is going to be carrying the Sochi 2014 Paralympic Winter Games.
Yeah.
There's going to be 52 hours of coverage slated across NBC and NBC Sports Network, or SN. And programming is going to include 27 hours of live action, beginning with the opening ceremony. You got to tune in. It's going to be on Friday, March 7th at 11 a.m. on NBCSN. And TeamUSA.org will also stream all of the events from the Paralympic Winter Games. Mm-hmm. Their coverage is going to include sports. Just imagine this. These athletes are just so inspirational. But then to watch them, they're going to be participating in sports alpine skiing, which is going to include snowboarding, cross-country skiing, a biathlon, wheelchair curling, and if you ask me, that's going to be a lot more interesting than regular curling, but that's my opinion.
No, I agree.
And sled hockey, and that's going to span 11 days. So please tune in and give them just as much support as you gave, our athletes right now. They deserve it. They fought to be there. They're an inspiration, and tune in and watch their success as well.
Yeah, that's going to be almost, if not more, emotional. I mean,
absolutely.
My goodness. I mean, these are all people who have been through life-altering things in there. I mean, some of us, obviously we're healthy, we're happy, everything's fine, but I couldn't imagine what goes through their minds when they have, now they're preparing for the Olympics.
Yep, and just to think the journey that they took to get there and the fighting and the training, and which they deserve our support, and they're just as strong and just as important as the Olympics that we have on right now, so please support them.
Yeah, mentally, physically, everything that goes into that. But all right, we have that's just just emotional to even think about. And we have our 3 My Pillow winners from last week's show. Kenny and Michelin and Brett will be receiving their pillows soon. So thank you to all, of course, and thank you to Mike Lindell and the great people from MyPillow.com who, basically sent everybody in Sochi pillows so they could rest easier, get a good night's sleep. And of course, thanks for letting us take part in the promotion and give our listeners a couple pillows, and we'll get that. And obviously, we need to thank Team Kellogg. I mean, what Team Kellogg and everything that they did for us, and everything that they do for our athletes over there. I mean, they're going to feed. All right, listen. They've been amazing with our athletes. We know that. You can still help Kellogg's in the Great Starts campaign and help give them give a child breakfast. I mean, on Twitter, if you hashtag Great Starts, they will provide one of the hungry kids in America a nutritional breakfast. So get the hashtagging, people. Hashtag Great Starts. I mean, really, thank you so much. Doing something that simple that can actually help so many people. And you know what it costs you? About 15 seconds of your day to go on Twitter and hashtag Great Starts. Is that too much to ask? Is it too much to ask?
No, I mean, if I can sit there and look at what you've had for breakfast and hear about your dates and all this other stuff, we can definitely use Twitter for the good.
Seriously.
And this is the time to do it.
Seriously. Get on Twitter and hashtag Great Starts. Help feed the people that can't feed themselves. I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on that people need some help out there. So
absolutely.
Yeah.
And should we talk about next week?
Yeah, what a show next week so far. I mean, obviously with the Olympians that we might still get, but regardless, we're going to have a big show.
Absolutely. I mean, like you said, we never know who's going to stop by because the Olympics are still going on even after we're off the air. Yeah. So you'll have to remember to watch us on Twitter at Palooza Radio to find out who we're going to have. But already lined up, we have an author. His name is Woody Woodburn, and he wrote Wooden and Me, and it's life lessons from my 2-decade friendship with the legendary coach and humanitarian John Wooden, and he was the legendary UCLA basketball coach. And Woody's going to stop by to talk about his friendship, his relationship with John, and all about his book. And I think that's going to be a great conversation to have. Speaking about books, we're actually jumping over to another book. We're going to have one of the authors, Dr. Scott Weiss, who co-wrote Confusing the Enemy, and it's the Cuss D'Amato story. And Cuss was basically, they're wondering in this book, what the whole book is about is Cuss was a legendary boxing trainer and manager. Yeah. But the whole gist of the book is there is a chance was he a gangster? So there's a whole controversy surrounding this gentleman, and we're going to find out the answer to that very intriguing question.
Yeah, I'll have to see if he took out the garbage or not. Yeah.
The quote-unquote garbage. Yeah. And then finally, and I thought this was really interesting. You know, I do the sports entertainment stuff, and I thought it was really interesting when I got word that there was going to be a new musical coming out, and they're working on it now, and the funding and putting the whole thing together. And it's on Jeremy Lin.
Yeah.
And, you know, he's a basketball player, obviously, well-known. But if you can believe it, a whole musical surrounding the career of Jeremy Lin. And I just thought it sounded like a lot of fun, and the producers are going to stop by and talk to us about how this all got started and when we might expect to see this show. Yeah,
it was crazy when he first came to the Knicks. Everyone called it the Linsanity.
Yep.
Yeah, and then obviously he ended up leaving the Knicks and all, but the New York media made a huge deal about this kid. I mean, obviously he's a smart kid. He went to Harvard and all that, but that's a pretty cool story.
Yeah, I mean, I can't imagine just creating this whole musical. I mean, I could understand a play or a book, but how do you create a musical around this? So I just thought it was really interesting. And you guys have absolutely no idea. We have so much fun coming up in the next few weeks. Yeah. We're going to be talking to, you know, a documentary, a gentleman who creates sports documentaries. We have other athletes with terrific stories coming up in March. So you really have to stay tuned. And like I said earlier on, and it's worth repeating, you never know who's going to stop by here. And these last 2 weeks have really just kind of shown that. So definitely follow us again on Twitter.
Yeah, great show.
Absolutely fantastic show.
These last 2 weeks have been great. Again, really, thank you to Kellogg's for helping us. And, we really appreciate everything you've done to help us. So let's get out of here. All right. Thanks for listening, of course. And everybody have a good rest of the week and weekend. And bye-bye.